Yes, dude.
Right
EDUAF, baby.
Yeah.
We in the mix. I feel like I'm Matthew McConaughey, dude. I mean, yeah, there's like these middle school kids that are checking out the head of the cheerleading, like the cheerleader captain.
Yeah.
You know, trying to slide in her DMs, and it's just not a chance, bro.
Not gonna happen.
Not a chance, bro. But then they see homie come through, and
they're like, wait, Call of Duty?
they're like, wait. They're playing League of Legends. They're about to switch.
Yeah, they're like, I guess it's the first person shooters.
I'm a COD type of guy now, dude. Let's get it.
Right.
I haven't played Call of Duty in probably, I shit you not, like 5 years. Yeah, see, I'm not on that spectrum. I was like, for Call of Duty, I would probably be the kid that you would pick last on the dodgeball team.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that was not my strong suit. Yeah.
I'm so bad at it.
This talk is
I know,
hilarious,
bro, what are you
dude.
doing?
She's literally just like, what's good,
Until,
bro?
like James gets here, she's like,
Hold on, I'm gonna film
like,
this.
I've
been asked like a few times, and recently if I played games, and I don't. My last console that I owned was a PS2 when I was in like 5th grade.
Damn, that's what's up though, because I know you found other things to put your energy into.
For sure.
It's a skill, it's learned, but the amount of time it takes just to try again, you got to reset and then get pulled up, and like if you're not on your feet, it's like it's a big learning process.
It is, man. It takes a lot of patience. And recently I've had an example of that. My homie Sam Lee, he's one of my good buddies. He's a tattooer friend of mine. He's a badass skateboarder, and I got him into wake skating this summer.
Nice.
And it's funny watching someone that has so much natural ability and natural talent.
Right.
He's picking up wake skating stupid fast.
I was gonna say, it just happens like that.
I mean, dude, it's like freakishly fast. But he's also used to the bang, bang, bang aspect of learning tricks on a skateboard.
Right.
So he's like, it's a complete learning curve for him. We're out there in the water, and he's, getting pissed off because he's not landing something that someone who's been wake skating for over a year would still probably not be landing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he's just so
you don't
talented.
Just pick it up and flip it and go. You got to reset. You're only getting like 10 runs in,
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about the other day, he was like, how many hits do you think I could have gotten on a ledge in this one fall that I just took?
Yeah.
And I was like, probably 5 hits. You probably could have tried the same trick 5 times on a skateboard.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like time efficiency,
See, that's what I did before I started skateboarding.
Really?
I was riding bikes a lot, man. Nice. Like I had 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 3.
Oh, hell
so I basically wanted to do whatever I could to be cool, like my, like my brothers.
I have an older brother. I know how that is.
So you know how it is.
Yeah,
we're all 5 years apart. So at one point in time, we were all in the house together. Like my brother would graduate high school when I was 8. My oldest brother.
Okay.
So before then, from like 6 to 8, 5 to 8, we were all ripping together on bikes.
That's fucking dope.
And so it was fun. At the same time, I was racing motorcycles. So I got into racing motocross when I was 6.
Holy shit, that's badass.
It was fun, man. But it's kind of like a running joke in my family. I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was like almost 5. And they would, I remember, dude, my dad would just talk some mess to me, be like, yo, you see this chick down the road? She's like 3 years old and she's riding a bike. I'm like, I don't care, Dad.
Funny.
Whatever.
So
but when I did get on the bike, I picked it up quick. We were weekend warriors, basically every single weekend we were at a different track.
Right.
We were traveling, and thanks to my parents' support, we were able to do that, every week for years. And
it's got to be a lot.
It is, man. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
And my dad's a real handyman. He was our mechanic and basically our coach too, and we loved it. Like at one point in time, I thought I was going to be the next Jeremy McGrath or like Ricky Carmichael, It was about when I was 12, my brother was like, hey dude, my homies invited me out. I just started wakeboarding. One of his buddies bought an X-Star. His family did. And he told me, he was like, hey, I want you to come check this out and try it out. I think you're going to like it. Pretty simple. And I was like, dude, I'm down. So I went out and I wakeboarded for the first time and was like, you're right. Like I fell in love with the water pretty much immediately. My family, we didn't really grow up doing like a lot of water sports stuff because we were racing.
Right.
But we had friends that had vessels, and every now and then we go kneeboard and tube and stupid shit like that. Yeah, it's so fun. And
that feeling on the water is just, you don't get it anywhere else. That
you don't.
Feeling,
you don't. And
especially on the wake skate, man. As much as I love the board, not being attached is the most beautiful, like, buttery thing.
It is.
I miss it, man.
Buttery.
Thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it's been years.
You got to shred with us, dude, whenever.
Yeah.
But what happened? So
But you got on that wakeboard the first time?
I tried it out for the first time, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I enjoy being out here. We're having a lot of fun with it. So then our grandfather had this, it was like a 1984 ski boat, and it was a Baja.
Nice.
And he let us borrow the Baja for a little bit. And so my family and I were taking the Baja out. We were wakeboarding behind this little ski boat.
That's cool.
And we were having a blast. And then it got to the point where we wanted to ride all the time. And then so my dad was like, and my mom basically gave us an ultimatum. They're like, hey, we support you guys in whatever you want to do, but you're going to have to make a choice. Do you want to spend time on the water, or do you guys want to continue racing motorcycles?
Makes sense.
And
expensive hobbies.
Very, you know what I mean? And
especially motorcycles. I mean,
yeah.
Boats are ridiculous, but I can imagine motorcycles.
Yeah, it's all expensive. Yeah. And so Clint and I kind of had a little powwow, and we didn't have to think about it very long.
Right.
We're like, we're choosing the water. So within the next year, my parents sold all the motorcycles, and they bought a Malibu. And so that was in 2003. We had the 04 graphics, though.
Oh, shit.
What's up, dude? One of the selling points of it is just being able to do it wherever, and you don't have to have a big boat.
Right.
Like, we didn't need that Malibu for me to wake skate, but at the time I was wakeboarding. I'll get out there and do a couple ollies, bro.
Yeah.
No, but it's fun. I mean, like, they're way different sports, and some people have like some sense of, I don't even want to say animosity, but towards like one or the other, you know, like, oh, wakeboarding's kooky, but I disagree. I think it's super fun either way.
Snowboarding-esque, you know? It's
yeah.
all about the big spins.
Well, either way, it's like without wakeboarding, there wouldn't, you know, wake skating
absolutely
wouldn't have
evolution thing.
come to fruition in the same way. I'm sure it would have happened at some point, but I mean, people like Scott Byerly and Eric Schmaltz, these legends from back in the day that turned their wakeboards into wake skates and, you know, started wake skating. I'd say right now that Central Texas has one of the biggest wake scenes in America.
Really?
Honestly.
That's
like
awesome.
There's so many cable parks in Texas now, but yeah, the ski ranch being in San Marcos, New Braunfels technically, it definitely helped catapult the scene. You know, got a new Suburban like 2003. We're like, I'm ready to take a road trip. We got DVD players in the back, cuz like,
when you're doing good.
Dude, we're doing good. And I remember I was at a track meet, and we went straight from that track meet and cruised down to San Marcos, and I went to the ski ranch for my first time. I've got mad love for that place. I was there last week.
It's a different feel though than like the boat ride.
Yeah, the cable is a lot different. You know, the
pulls you different.
The pool's elevated. The way the board pops out of the water is different. You know, it's definitely a different element of riding. Some entertaining shit happened out there. What's up, bud?
Good to see you, dude. You too. Looking good.
Dude, your dog is being super creepy this whole time.
He's awesome.
She was like right here just staring.
Yeah, like ill lit.
Like, fuck, good luck competing with that kid.
Yeah, shout out ill lit.
Yeah, oh
he's a beast. God. I mean, he's got the 2P now. He's probably done.
Yeah, right.
You know, he probably won't. I mean, if he wants to, he could go win another one.
Yeah, or show up for like a Champions Edition. That's like Brandon talked about when he was
here. Trying to like get him to put together like a
everyone that had won.
Only winners, 10K on the line. Like go balls out.
Holla!
You know, just like
I'm in for that.
Yeah, that would be so sick, right?
That'd be fun, dude.
Yeah.
Tone Royal and I going to battle again.
Dude, that would be so sick. So you've won one?
I've won 2 of them.
2 of them? Dude,
yeah.
That's awesome.
And then Tone's won 2 of them as well. And now Ill Lit's won 2 of them.
That's legit. I could see all the collective members pulling it off, you know?
That's how, honestly, that's kind of one of the things that brought us all together.
Yeah.
I became friends with Brandon through that. Oh. Same with Ajax Stacks before he moved down here from Michigan. And then that's where I met Droid.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Droid was. And then I saw his name on the Rap for a Stack thing. And then I saw him rap, and I was like, how have I not heard of this dude?
Right.
Because he is stupid good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're right. It is, and you know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many shows you've played and how tough it is to get some people out, even people that are really close to you.
Best friends.
I mean,
one of my like main musician lessons that I've learned over my lifetime is that you're never trying to get your friends to be your fans.
No.
It's just not how it works.
No.
I mean, it's really great if they show up, but at the end of the day, those aren't the people that are going to pay the bills, you know? So
no, they're not. The toughest thing when it comes to writing music is taking the time to sit down and write.
Of course.
You know, you have all these things going on, and it seems like everything's moving quick and like things are turning, and it's hard just to turn the volume down and just like get by yourself and sit and like
just sit. Yeah.
just do it. Yeah, and if you don't, you know, you just got to feel the vibe out, start writing, and if you don't dig it, rewrite it. And I watch the people around me that write really good songs, and it's cool to pick people's brains and see what they do. Like, there's a guy that I've been jamming a lot of, Sully Had. I don't know.
I'll check it out for
Dude, he's on the come up.
Okay.
Sully Had is a very talented cat. He's young too. And I saw something from an interview the other day that basically said that when he's writing, if it doesn't come off like pretty quick and natural, he doesn't fuck with it. Like someone like Chance, who's so talented and has such a unique voice, and you wouldn't think that would be his approach. Absolutely. Sometimes I hear a verse of his and I'm like, he wrote that in his sleep. Yeah. Like, it was so easy to him. He didn't even try to record that. Exactly. He just recorded it.
That's like his essence. He oozes that.
Dude, he does. So like you hear something like that maybe he took him 100 times to get that take.
Right.
I would never think that.
Yeah. No, me neither. And I don't definitely in no way look down upon it, because I've been there and I understand that's like
absolutely. Tone and I were talking about this, just putting a song out. You know, like, okay, maybe you think it's not the best thing ever, but people can relate to it, and someone's got, like, people are gonna vibe with it.
Yeah.
You know, and you have those songs where it's like, I mean, stop worrying so damn much. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Some of the biggest hits ever are the like grimiest fucking SoundCloud rap songs.
Yep.
You know, just like horrible production.
Yep, shitty production.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Like blasting bass through the fucking roof. Like meme beats, basically.
Yeah. After Philip's album release party the other night, we went and had dinner, and there was an artist that was there hanging out with us. We didn't really know him well, but he was kind of running his mouth. He was pretty drunk. Yeah. Younger kid. He's like probably 22.
Okay.
Kind of running his mouth, and we got to talking about Sicko Mode, and he was like, oh yeah, money can buy you a lot, huh? I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, there's 6 producers on that song. Yeah. He was like, yeah, how easy is it to find 6 producers and say, hey, let's make a good song, and then not do anything? I was like, what do you mean? Like, you think Travis Scott had nothing to do with how good that song is? For me personally, back in the day, I even talk about it in some songs I've written about kind of hating on like the radio mainstream thing. And honestly, what a lot of that is lack of like, basically me just beating myself up for not being on the radio. Yeah. Or for not like creating a hit that has millions of plays or something like that in the same way. And once I realized that, I was able to really open my mind a lot more to different genres and like the rise of people and just being happy, like being content with everybody and what they're doing. Like, I've got zero animosity towards any artist, towards any genre, towards any body. Like, there's no reason for it, dude. Well, yeah, you wonder about like the whole beef and everything. I mean, you look at our feeds on our phones and like on Instagram and things like that, the way that everything's calculated and put into place for people to see. It's kind of trippy.
Oh yeah.
No pun intended with the trippy red and Tekashi like, thing, but it's like, whoo. Yeah. What Big Boy's playing a role here, keeping people in the loop.
It's weird.
It is weird. Well, you look at like you were talking about with the waiting, because you see some battles and there will be a punchline. And then there's like 3 or 4 seconds in between that punchline, right? And someone comes back with the hitter at the end. You're just like, wait, what was that pause all about?
You have any projects coming out? Any singles?
I do have some singles that I'm working on right now. There's a song that I'm doing with Ajax Stax called Let 'Em Know.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
And I've got some other singles that I've already recorded that are just getting finished. So we work with Chris Locke.
Okay.
Out at Lit Up Ave, which is off of 71. Shout out Chris Locke. That dude is amazing, man. He's such a fun dude to work with. He shows mad love to the people that he works with as well. Oh, yeah. But yeah, working on a couple singles. I don't have a project with a date or anything. Nice. I'm just kind of working on putting out some songs and
having quality music.
Yeah, some quality and music videos as well. Warner Brothers, I mean
now
started out with like 300 something K.
Which, shout out Lil Pump, he turned 18 yesterday.
Wow.
I mean, you could just like hop on Twitch and play Fortnite and people are like, oh shit, you're part of the community now, you know? It's like,
dude, that thing took off.
You know? Oh yeah.
I come home every now and then, my roommates are just like both up, separate rooms across the way with headsets on, talking to each other, like 15 feet across from each other. I mean, dude, it is. And like for me personally, with the Japanese culture, the Japanese form of tattooing has really caught my eye in the last year, I would say. I mean, dude, I just got this this mask right here.
Dude, that's so dope. Oh my
god. This is my first like legitimate, Japanese.
That's awesome, man. Where'd you get that done?
Sam Lee.
Really?
He's a tattooer at East End Tattoo. Well, yeah, he's a lightning bolt, man. I send everybody his way.
Really?
He's so talented.
I've been wanting
Shout out Sam Lee.
Local guy.
Go get tattooed by Sam Lee, all of you.
Dude.
We counted the other day. I've got 20 tattoos from him.
Holy shit.
Yeah. We were laughing we were at the shop. He was like, how many tattoos do you have of me? By me. And I was like,
How many do you have total?
Shit, dude. Like probably close to 40.
Holy shit.
In my sleeves, 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just 1.
Yeah, so this is 1.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it goes, you know, like.
Tatted the fuck up.
I've been getting pretty heavily tattooed, man. I started 10 years ago when I was 17. Yee, Rocky Beaches, baby. Hold up. Who was Wiggles? What are you up to?
Yeah, I don't know. We missed some comments. What's up, Wiggles?
Wiggles. Do you know that person?
No.
Sorry, you're bored, dude. We're vibing over here. It's a vibe, cuz all day. But yeah, I started getting tattooed when I was probably 17. I came home from getting my first piece, and my mom was chilling on the couch watching Law and Order, like, you know, Criminal SVU or some shit.
Oh, dude, that's so funny. My parents are obsessed with that shit.
They love it.
Up on the CSIs and the Law and Orders and all that.
Yeah, so I came home and I lifted up my pant leg, and my mom was like, "Shit, set up." She was like, "Is that real?" Yeah, Mom, that's real, dude. Like, yeah, you want like a penguin riding a jet ski or some shit.
Yeah.
Saying chill out.
That's great.
You know what I mean?
You should design tattoos.
Oh, dude, I'm going to get that probably for sure. Yeah, creating your own lane. Sam Lee, he has the quickest heals that I've ever seen. I got tattooed by him 4 days ago. My tattoo's completely peeled. What is that going to look like in 20 years?
Exactly.
You know, how are those colors going to fade together? How is your skin going to morph with that tattoo, that particular piece, you know? And that's one of the big selling points of traditional tattoos is how bold they are and how they're known for standing the test of time, you know? And that's, I think, kind of one reason why I stopped having this idea of like, I was like, I'm going to get covered in like surrealism type tattoos, which I love that style, but I don't want every single one of my tattoos to look like that.
Right.
You know?
There is something like really attractive about like looking like a piece of flash. I don't know what it is.
It's cool
like,
as shit.
It just looks cool, man.
And sometimes I'll come across like old journals and old books that we would write rhymes. We would write songs in high school. We would
that's awesome.
Write songs and pass them in between the halls and classes. Damn. So like I would start a verse, I'd write a 16, I'd pass my paper off to my homie on his way to next class.
Dude,
and then he'd write a chorus, and then he'd write a verse, and then he'd pass it back to me. We like write songs that way in school.
Collaboration.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope, dude.
It was cool, man.
Smart, honestly.
It was.
Like, anytime I bring more brains to a project, it's always better. Like,
absolutely.
Always better. And
we would, you know, you get to read like what your homie was writing, and you kind of see their cadence and see how they're approaching a song. And looking back on it, it's pretty funny. When I was in college, I was in a band called The Lost Groove, and we put out an EP back then. And I was, it's like hip hop rock.
Nice.
It's a pretty cool live show. You know, we had 3 MCs.
That's what's up.
We had a bass player, guitarist, and a drummer.
Nice.
Victor Bustos was our guitarist. He's a living legend in Central Texas. He's one of the most talented guitarists I know. Shout out to Victor. And then my buddy Symmetry, that's his hip hop name.
Okay.
He's the dude that really put me on the shows when I was in college.
Nice.
He heard my music. He was like, "Yo, I like what you're doing. Like, you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, I definitely want to play," because I didn't have much knowledge about, you know, performing and things like that. And he really helped me out there. He put me on, and we played a lot of shows together, and we still play together now. I wouldn't. Probably one of the first albums that comes to mind is Plans by Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah, dude.
It's nostalgic as fuck, bro.
So nostalgic.
You can sing it beginning to end.
You really can. And like marching bands in Manhattan and, you know, things like that. Like, I think Plans would probably be one of the first things I think of with Death Cab.
That's dope.
My next album off top, How I Got Over by The Roots.
Oh, okay.
That's gonna be up there, man.
That's what's up, man.
I mean,
I'm a big fan.
Like
I play it,
Radio Days,
I play
Dear God 2.0.
The Roots all the time at work.
Stay cool, dude.
It's such a jam. Such a fucking
Hip hop, my main bitch. I got a few on the side. The
Stay
game
cool.
stitch, yo. I'm doing my job. Going against enormous odds. Yeah. Wow. Black Thought is one of my favorite MCs ever. Dude, speaking of that happened to me when I was jamming Antisocial today. I heard some shit that Brandon was saying on that song where he's talking about being in a plane cabin and the mask dropping down and him not listening to the stewardess that talked about how to use them and whatnot. And so he's talking about how he can't breathe.
That's so funny.
So funny. Shout out B on that. That was some smartness. Man, it's tough to pick 3 albums.
You could pick 3 reggae albums.
I know what album. Set Sail by The Movement. Well, I'm actually doing a collaboration song with Gary Dredd. He's a drummer of The Movement.
What?
Yeah, he's got
crazy.
his own solo project.
That's so sick.
Yeah, I'm really excited, dude. Gary called me up or hit me up like a month ago. I was like, hey man, I want you on this song. But that's the album that plays in my head when I think of the beach and shit. I mean, Mexico's on it.
Yeah.
Set Sail, the actual song, is on it, you know, and those are probably my 3 albums. I'd say Plans by Death Cab, How I Got Over by The Roots, and Set Sail by The Movement.
That's a good collection, man. That can definitely keep you happy and vibing long enough to maybe get saved or die happy on the island.
Dude, I'll be building hammock. I'll turn into Avatar out there, son. Yeah, I've never hunted before, man.
Really?
I mean, I was always doing other things growing up, you know, like I was racing or skating and then wake skating and rapping, and like I didn't grow up in a typical American household.
Right.
Like I didn't watch TV growing up really. Like we didn't watch team sports or anything like that. Like I did not grow up. I cannot recall watching a single football game other than the Super Bowl in my house ever.
I'll shoot a fucking cheesecake any day.
Dude, I'll snipe a cheesecake, dude. I'm actually not even a sweets guy. I don't eat sweets. My roommate, about 3 months ago, I think, he killed a deer. And they got it all, you know, packaged up, the venison and everything. And we ate it for a while. And I mean, he was just so proud of that.
I bet.
The deer's hanging in the wall too.
As it should be, man.
Yeah, dude.
Put the rock in the backpack and run up the damn hill.
Run up that hill.
And that's the only way you're gonna get
50
better.
pounds, baby.
Yeah, it's the only way you're gonna get better.
Dude. Yeah, no, I've over the last 2 years, before 2 years ago, I've been really physically active my whole life with the things that I've done, you know, wake skating and skateboarding and
skydiving and all that.
Yeah, and skydiving now.
Talk about that.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
That's I can tell though. You seem like someone that stays in the gym, stays active.
Yeah, for sure. So
motivated.
I mean, around 2 years ago, I trained for a short stint at On It Academy here in Austin.
Very familiar.
Eric Leha was the dude that trained me. He's Primal Soldier. He's a monster.
Instagram.
He's a monster.
He just posted up before and after picture
his
from
shred
2 years ago. And I was just like, are you shitting me? Because he was already shredded.
He was already shredded. But
How
he's on
did
another level.
He get to another level? It doesn't make sense.
He's a monster, man.
Don't know who that is. Instagram, Primal Soldier.
Primal Soldier.
He'll make you feel like you've never worked out a day in your life.
He'll make you feel like you were a baby that just escaped the womb. I love herb.
Yeah.
I promote its legalization. There's so many benefits to it, but for me, it just wasn't doing anything for me anymore. And that's not to say that I'm done smoking weed forever, but
just making changes.
For a while, dude, I'm over it. Yeah, I just don't like having hangovers. I like waking up in the morning and feeling fresh as a cucumber.
Right, exactly.
You know, waking up and just.
There's been many hangovers where I wake up and I'm like, does everyone feel this bad? Or
is it just me?
Because this is so bad.
Dude, you feel like you're dying. Bad. I remember my homie threw up on my shoe. That was happening. And I remember everything was kind of trippy. And I was there with this chick that I was really digging at the time. And I was just blackout basically. And then all of a sudden I come to and we're having sex. Oh, this is not the first,
no.
This is not how I wanted to introduce our sex life, you know what I mean? Because this chick was really cool and she was older than me. She was this hot chick in high school. And
you're trying to give it 100%.
Dude, I was trying to give it a hundo. Dude, and it's just goes back to the importance of, you know, whatever sex it is, you know, if you like the same sex, it doesn't really matter. Just having a mutual respect for the act of, you know, what's happening and the fact that someone's letting you in, you know, that openly and they're trusting you, and
it's such a big deal.
It's fucking awesome. There's so many things that we get to do in the world now that, you know, 100 years ago may have seemed out of the realm of possibility. I mean, just over 100 years ago, you know, they were building the first airplanes and things like that. And dude, it wasn't long. I mean, people were parachuting before airplanes were invented.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
And the first parachutists were mainly women.
Off of mountains or bridges?
Hot air balloons.
What?
Yes,
dude.
Oh
my God, that's crazy.
It's wild. They were showmen basically. And the first mainly some of the first famous parachutists were women because it was like a circus act and they could draw more attention. I'm at the point now, like with skydiving, where I can, transition into learning how to wingsuit.
So how many hours would you say you have / would recommend someone have before they considered wingsuiting? Is that like...
Generally speaking, everyone learns at different rates, but it's about around 200 skydives. I mean, there was over, 1 million skydives last year in the world.
Jesus, that's a lot. That's so much.
It's a lot,
that's
dude.
a lot.
It's a lot.
Holy fuck.
In the skydiving culture, there was over 1 million skydives last year.
Wow. How many of those people hit the ground without
There were
shooting?
only 22 deaths last year in skydiving.
Damn.
Worldwide.
The most dangerous aspect, like where do people fuck up? What happened in those 22 cases? Were they all just
low
individual?
turns, under canopy, low to the ground.
Oh.
That's probably some of the most dangerous aspects of it.
Okay. Interesting.
Not the free fall, not the plane rides.
Really?
A lot of it is canopy collisions and low turns to the ground, not making decisions quick enough when it comes to emergency procedures.
What's going through your head, like before and like during? Like, is it something you're so comfortable with now that you're just like 100% experiencing it, or is it like, you're talking yourself through like reaction, like step one, pull, whatever, like that sort of like.
Some of it becomes just like whenever you're performing a song multiple times on stage, you start having that memory of like the feel and like not thinking so much about the crowd and things like that. But you always want to be completely present. There's not much you can compare it to like in a day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
But it's cool because, like, to answer your question, I mean, you still have to maintain that sense of clarity. And I mean, there's a lot of coaches that say every time you go to pull your parachute, expect a malfunction. Don't get complacent, because complacency is what can get you hurt. Exactly. I mean, I only have 330 jumps, but I don't have any reserve rides, but then you see people that on their first jump ever, they have a malfunction and they have to go to reserve.
Just happens,
their first jump ever.
Fucking happens.
And there's guys with over 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 skydives that have never had a reserve ride. For tandem jumps don't have anything to do with the packing of the parachute.
Just there for the ride.
Dude, honestly, I had 100 skydives before I learned how to pack a parachute.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was me kind of being like just a little bit lazy there. But once I did learn, I was like, wow, I should have learned this from day one, know? So it's something that I try to help out to people that are just starting, like, hey, learn how to pack as quick as you can. What we have what's called an AAD, an automatic activation device. It's based on air pressure is how it's read. And when you get below a certain speed in free fall, your reserve canopy automatically fires.
Oh, that's
It's a safety protocol.
So it's like if the main's not open, it's just coming. If
the main's not open and you go under a certain air pressure, your reserve's going to fire. Every 5 seconds, you're falling 1,000 feet.
God damn.
That's just on your belly. That's not including like free flying, which is what, generally most people a lot of people get into is a quicker way of flying. Where you're changing your orientation of the earth. Like now I've been working on a lot of sit flying where like I'm flying like literally like this in the sky. I'm head up.
Oh really?
Yeah, like not your typical how you envision people on their belly.
Faster that way?
A lot faster. Like I had a jump from 20,000 feet not too long ago.
Damn.
It was a minute and 40-second free fall.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Nutty.
Holy fuck.
Nutty, right?
That's so nuts, man.
It really is, man. It's it's pushing like the human body to the limits, and like really testing your metal, I guess, more or less. But yeah, there's actually only one place in America that it's legal to base jump, and it's in Idaho. It's a bridge in Idaho.
Really?
Yeah, and they run a base jumping school out there. It's very illegal. It's wild. Base jumping is really crazy, and it's a whole nother sport itself, and what you tend to see a lot with base jumpers is a lot of them become very proficient skydivers, and then they transition into, I'm sure.
You want your confidence to be through the roof before you do something.
Well, it's good to know how to fly canopy, and it's good to know how to have control in free fall. With base jumping, the free fall aspect is a lot shorter lived. But flying your canopy is very important, and knowing how to fly a canopy
very good at that.
Yeah, it's very important. For sure. So there's a base jumper, Miles Dasher. He's on Red Bull. and he does a school out in Idaho that I'd like to do in the next year.
Nice.
Yeah, I was reading the other day. I can't remember how far. I think like one of the longest wingsuit flights was like 18 miles.
God, oh man, that's
From
so
I don't know.
nice.
I'm sure it was probably from 25,000
So
feet.
you're
I don't want to get
following.
wrong there in the numbers, but I think that was around there.
Those guys are crazy. That Dubai base jump thing that they have going on right now.
Yeah.
I've seen those videos.
From the roof of that spot?
Just jump off that.
I want to go there, dude.
It's so sick.
That's on the list
They
too.
have that zip line, and they'll just
Yeah.
go like halfway and then let go.
My dad and my brother both started skydiving after me.
Oh, nice.
My dad's a skydiver and my brother's a
That's fucking
skydiver.
Cool, dude.
My dad has more jumps than me.
What?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
Awesome.
So
That's
it's
like the ultimate selling point right there. Is
dude, it's so cool. My dad's got over 400 jumps
your
already.
dad started after, and now he's more into it.
My dad's a pilot. Some of my first memories were me being above the clouds.
That's crazy.
You know, I didn't.
Super cool.
I mean, that was my childhood, was doing aileron rolls in the plane. And
No
my dad would float the book. He'd go up and kill the engine. And I'd have a book in my lap. And when he killed the engine, the book would just start floating up. And I could just grab it out of the air.
Dude, that's
Like,
so sick.
so cool.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
You know, that's how I grew up. The main thing, like social media wise for me, is my Instagram. It's at Collin Gee, COLLIN, and then GEE.
Double E.
GEE, baby. 2 E's, baby. 2 L's, 2 E's. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, we put out a full-length movie last year called Estudiomo. It's an hour long. My friend Andrew Ream was the director of it.
Nice.
And it's basically National Geographic for wakeskating. Like it really puts the sport, like,
That sounds awesome.
it really shows you the lifestyle and like how beautiful it really is, what we get to do. Thank you, man. I appreciate you bringing me out.
Thank you, dude.
For real, brother.
Big time.